what I like that the movie does is, although it is a story very much about vampires, it's told very much from the perspective of Owen, played by Cody, and Cody just has this very, what I like to call, simple brilliance. He doesn't really need to say in words what he's going through. His facial expressions and how he communicates, particularly with his eye movements, you just see that, this kid is lost. Feels like he's invisible to people. They don't understand him. He's mistreated at school. I think people that have seen this movie can relate a lot to what Owen goes through, because I think we've all been through at one stage where we've been tormented by bullies, which, by the way, shouldn't be going on in school, yet it still does. Authorities, do something about this. And it's a very honest performance, because I feel like Cody's either drawing personal experiences, or he's witnessed a lot of bullying from an outside perspective, or he's actually spoken to people that have actually gone through bullying. What I like is there's a very big subtlety to what's going on in the story. You can tell that there's these little things going on in the story, but it allows the audience to use their imagination and work it out for themselves. Now, Random DCE had said in his reaction and review much earlier this year, which you can see in a link in the description, of what he thought about this movie. And it's very subtle, with something like Twilight, the movie practically beat you over the head that Edward's a vampire, yet with Abby, who's played by Chloe, you had to start working it out. She's a girl that, only seems to come out at night. She does all these weird little things. But that's the thing I like about her acting. And just for context, this is the movie that, sold me on being a fan of hers, because of the fact she's just a really thorough method actor. Because of the fact that she just really wants to get into the head of the character, why the character feels this sad, why she's given up on so much of her own inner hope and strength. And with Chloe, like with Cody, she gives a very honest and sincere performance as Abby, who, on the face of it, she looks like this very sweet, angelic, 12 years young girl that, Owen thinks, oh, I've actually got somebody I can be friends with. But it's when the layers of the story start getting peeled away, he starts putting two and two, like, something's not right with this girl. It's when it dawns upon him that she's a vampire, after he's seen her drinking blood, which I think would freak anybody out. And just for a little added thing, the word vampire is only ever said once in this flick, and it's just when he confronts her and just says, "Are you a vampire?" And she just very subtly answers, "I need blood to live." But what I think sets Abby apart from other vampires is that she takes no pleasure in what she does. She does it purely as a means of survival. And this is what makes her a very sympathetic character. See, I don't classify Chloe's character as an antagonist, because it's, you know, the character got dealt a card that she never wanted way back in the past, and she has to live with the consequences from the one perspective of she doesn't want to do these things, but at the same time she doesn't want to die. And I found that whereas at the start, when you first see her, she's very depressed, she's pretty much given up and just wants to, you know, be with her sadness by herself. I think it's as you see the two pair up whenever they have this, there seems to be this little formula where they would meet up by the jungle gym frame at night. Owen gets her to come out of her shell just that little bit more, and to the point where there's an actual conversation going between. And I think that's like anything. If you're somebody that's a little bit uneasy about opening up to people when you're dealing with your own personal issues that you don't really want to tell people about, it's when you start to feel comfortable, you actually start to gain someone's trust, you feel like you can let a few things out and start to tell them. And what I think is really decent about the writing is, even when Abby's not saying very much, the movie is feeding you with a lot of information. In that, when she said her mom, you know, when Owen asked us about her mom, said her mom's dead, you know, you can tell that she doesn't have anybody. She's keeping the cards very close to her chest, and that she I don't think it's necessarily a sense of trust issues. I think it's the sense of, would this person believe me if I told him that I only come out at night and my only means of getting, you know, a quick pick-me-up is to sink my fangs into somebody's neck and, you know, get me a 5-minute blood espresso, for want of a better description. They kind of make the vampiric look that Abby has, where instead of the whole morphing head thing that had become commonplace after such movies like From Dusk Till Dawn and when Buffy the Vampire Slayer started out, which, by the way, 18th anniversary this year. Wow. I think people were looking for something a little bit more simplistic, and something that you could tell that there's something very different, but at the same time there's not a lot done to actually enhance somebody's features, to give them this creature of the night look, and not something that's completely separate or dissimilar to that of human features, because all Chloe seems to have is a couple of little prosthetic pieces on her face, along with makeup, dentures, and contact lenses. And I think contact lenses work a lot, because you see it whenever it's things like the transformation to the Incredible Hulk, or if you're watching a werewolf movie and you see somebody's eyes change, you think, yep, something's about to go down. Manner, and it's little things from the lighting. There's a very soft. Now I keep hearing different pronunciations of this word. It's either sepia or sepia. You know, to whatever it is, you know, go with it. And it works well for the night scenes. And it's just the way that this movie is shot. It's not quite the sort of film noir type thing, because if it was film noir, I would have a much more black and white feel. But that's just my take on it. It's got a very old school style of art film that they just don't really do anymore. The score really helps create a mood. particularly in segments where Abby and her guardian are just like having these last few moments with each other, because I'm not going to go into too much spoiler territory because it's better if you actually go see the movie for yourself. But it's just the emotion in the one eye that he's able to have open, and you can just see the sadness in Abby's eyes, that, you know, they realise that they've reached the end of it, and he's just got one last thing to do for her, which she just feeds off of him. And it's a very sad scene where you actually do feel very sad for the Guardian. That's the thing that really made me a fan of Chloe as an actor, is the fact that she took a very difficult objective, task, role, call it what you will, and that was to get the audience to feel sympathy and sad for a vampire. This was one of those movies where once I started watching it, I couldn't stop watching it. I think after I watched it the first time, this was the first movie I had rewatched so many times at home since getting Jurassic Park. But I'd like to think it's going to be one of those movies that particularly fans of Chloe and Cody respectively will look at back and say, yeah, that was an amazing movie, what they've done there, but I've been with them since this movie, and they show that movie to people in the future and like, this is good! But yeah, after this very, very long-winded review, let me in, unsurprisingly, get a grade A awesome. Until then, watchers of After Dark.